Hello, how is it going? Hope everybody's having a great day. I'm Dorsa Derakhshani in St. Louis, and we were having such a great weather pretty much all week, and somehow today it just started raining, so we got that going on. um, for those of you who have been watching me for the past, I guess, few months, at least since pandemic hit, I wanted to share a little information that today my cat has been extremely loud and he will most likely continue meowing, so I apologize in advance for that. Hope you like cats meowing. There is a stray cat behind the window that I feed sometimes, and since it's raining, the stray cat is kind of like taking shelter. So yeah, we got that going. But yeah, and for the other those of you who have been hearing me vent on Twitch about exams and MCATs and stuff, I did an exam today. It was actually pretty nicely. I thought it would go way worse. And signed up for MCAT 26th of March. It's going to be a very painful day. The longest exam of my life so far, 8-hour exam. I am not even halfway through studying, so yeah, I got that going. Hope you guys are doing better. Oh, I see the chat is warming up. Thank you, thank you. Amsterdam. I have some friends in Netherlands. I was there in 2015. Oh God, I'm getting old. It's already been 5 years since I was there. Oh God. All right, so today I decided to take a step back, and we are going to talk about a little fun game that Morphy played. But it's not just that Morphy played it. It's really fun because well, we've been looking at a lot of topology games, a lot of dynamic games, so this game is a really nice mix of dynamic and strategic. So I hope you guys will like it. Last week I kind of had to rush into the last parts of the game. It was not this game, it was a different game. I think the game that we were looking at was the Rubinstein, I believe. That was the game that's, yeah, I had to rush into last week. So if you did not catch it, I did a more extensive end game for this game, pretty much at the on the Twitch channel on Friday. So feel free to take a look at that as well. I really wanted to get that out there. So if you watched the last lecture and you want more explanation on that end game, feel free to check that out. But today I think I've managed my time better. It should go smoother and it shouldn't be as meowy. There we go. Here is the cat. Alright, so you all probably know that I'm a very big fan of Morphy as well. He's one of the great chess players of all time. Oh, Namibia. Jesus, that is very far. I've never been there actually. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to travel. I remember that I grew up wanting to really travel, and then yeah, somehow I just didn't really feel suitable traveling alone. Alright, so enough about me and my hopes and dreams. So in this game, for those of you who play F5, this Dutch would be very interesting. So there are very different ways to play this Dutch. There's a way to go about G6. There's different ways to try and form this like Stonewall style. So it takes, I mean, it kind of depends on you, how you want to play it. But most people kind of tend to go for this knight f6 g6. And unfortunately, I used to play this as well, and then the idea was that eventually I kind of wanted to get this e5 in. So that's just, I'm just throwing some ideas out there for you to go look up on your own. But as the cat confirms, oh my god, Pishi is the stray cat. He's hyping him up. Alright. Okay, so now I kind of wanted to ask a little question on how do you think, where do you think our pieces are supposed to be as black? Basically, well, what do you want to do with your pieces? Are you going to do this g6? Are you going to get the bishop out somewhere? Are you going to just straight up play d5? you got a lot of options. So I really do enjoy an interactive class. So I would appreciate it. Thank you, Ferdinand. Yeah, bishop b4. Yeah, yeah. This is theory, but for those of us who are not who do not play this, it would be a good idea to just have a feeling of where your pieces are supposed to be. All right. So bishop b4. Now, what else? Are you going to take that, or are you going to try some a5 or c5 in there? If you know the theory, I would kind of encourage you not to just like tell the move, more as kind of like give an explanation and encourage the players who don't play this to try and like guess the move. That's something I've been doing with some of my students, the private ones. Yeah, well, I mean, technically you could take, but I don't really appreciate the take because, first of all, the pawn takes back, and I don't really like this pin already. I feel like if this bishop was all the way back in c1 and there was like an e3 pawn on it, it would feel much more comfortable. Anywho, c5 is actually a very decent way of playing it. You could consider a5 as well, but yeah, it doesn't necessarily feel, I mean, I feel like a5's, so one thing that I've learned, and I encourage you to actually watch that video that I did. I think that was actually the first video one of the first videos I did for St. Louis Chess Club. It's a game that I played, I was black versus Nimzo Indian. And it was a very interesting strategy game, and that a5, a4, and those style really do tend to help you. So it's good to consider a5, but at the moment you gotta do something about the center. Now I'm gonna start meowing back. Pishi. Working from home, am I right? Some people have kids, some people have cats. Alright, so c5 is the best way to go. It's the most logical way to go, just because you gotta have something in the center. d5, and now what? And Ferdinand, I kind of agree with you. I saw that question about bishop e7. I feel like bishop e7 would also work, but bishop e7 would kind of allow, your bishop is kind of misplaced on f6, and after e4, like opponent is trying to play e5 or take on f5 or got bishop d3, you don't really have anything in the center to face it off. So yeah, I think this d5 is more, this bishop b4 is more interesting. Pishi. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now, another question I wanted to ask was, do you guys feel a difference between playing d6 now or castling? Because to me, honestly, it's kind of, I mean, I don't feel that much difference, because if I play d6, you're still probably going to get this bishop out, and I would still castle anyways. So I don't exactly feel any difference, and those are like your only two reasonable moves. You could potentially consider h6, but I wouldn't recommend that in this position. So yeah, I kind of just wanted to bring up that point, because that was a little, the decision between d6 or castle was a little confusing to me, but I don't really feel that it's too different. And okay, some of our next few moves, some of our next few future moves, it's going to be moving this knight, definitely. I'm not really comfortable what I want to do with this bishop. I kind of just want to get rid of this knight. Maybe not right now, but that's definitely to come. What else do I want to do? I kind of want to like poke this bishop. So we have some variety of ideas on what we want to do about this position. Does anybody have a favorite? Oh my god, that stray cat is literally trying to just like so behind the window. I wish I could actually show it on camera, but yeah, it's a, yeah. I don't know if to feel bad about this poor cat or just kind of like, I mean, I feed him. I guess I'm his foster cat mama. And he just banged himself against the window. Jesus. Alright, I kind of like this idea of knight coming to c7, but potentially trying to throw b5. Yeah, I do like that, because the one thing that I really do like about black's position is that this pawn structure kind of gives you edge in both sides, the king side and the queen side. So depending on how the game will unfold, you can always just throw something on f4 or e4, or like throwing a b5. So I really do like that we have this many options as black. So I kind of think playing something like h6 might be more reasonable right now. So yeah, what do you think after h6? What do you think h6? What do you think about h6? Because bishop h4, I mean, there's g5 and f4, so I wouldn't really exactly go about that. So when you play h6, opponent is going to definitely take on f6. So do you guys like it? Do you guys like h6, or do you think h6 is a little premature? You're correct. The pawn on d6 could be a constant weakness, but at the moment, opponent has no threats on it, so I wouldn't feel threatened. I would only feel threatened if like opponent plays something like knight d5 or started like trying to actively attack it. I wish I could. Yeah, yeah, that's true. After queen f6, knight can go to d5. Alright, I need a minute to get the cat kid. We'll be back in a jiffy, and he knows it. Alright, cat is gonna be hugged. Pishi pishi. Alright, this was not how I envisioned my lesson to go, but I brought the cat. This should be fun. I will most likely need to get up again because he will not be sitting this straight. Okay. I do like h6. Why is bishop h4 bad? Because if bishop h4, you get g5 and then f4. So yeah, it's not the most pleasant idea. Theoretically, white could try to do like a long castle style, and it could get a little freaky, but I kind of like it. Pishi, pishi, pishi. Oh my god, I do never want to have kids and work from home. Alright, guys, I am sorry. I gotta put the cat in a room. This is not productive. Pishi, pishi. Alright, he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to stay. Oh my god. I need a second me just to take care of the cat. How do people have kids on their own? Oh my goodness. Alright. Why psychology in the title? Well, today I'm having psychological warfare with my cats, I guess. Cat matey. Thank you. Yeah, this sacrifice is not worth it for white. And hopefully my cat knows that if he meows now, he will have to endure my forced love. I will squeeze him. Yes, again, I'm sorry about the cat. I can't really help it. He made appearances in the US Championship as well. He was such a good captain, though. He was just napping. Maybe it was because it was during the day. Anywho, bishop f6 is the best way to go after h6. Queen takes f6, and I think now we could actually start considering some ideas, but I'm not exactly decisive on it. I want to see what the opponent does. I mean, if you castle short side, okay, well now I can do e4, and now I can do like a knight jump over right here. So I think that would be pretty awesome, but if like white does a long castle, then I don't really exactly want to start that, because then f3 g4 would be coming up. So white in the game game played a3 and a3. Well, I mean, we gotta take. I mean, we could play bishop a5, but I really don't see any bright future for my cat. For this bishop, I don't exactly know. I mean, what am I gonna do with this bishop? I guess, I mean, theoretically, we could make this difference, but I do think bishop takes c3 is just the safest way. I guess the cat agrees too. And alright, so now I am going to ask you to give me a plan on what do you want to do with your pieces now. And while you guys do that, I'm gonna go trap the cat in a room, close the door on him, leave some food for him. That'll be fine for 45 minutes, right? Alright, Pishi Pishi. Pishi Pishi. Oh my god, this is the chess and psychology part. Ugh. I go a bit. Where do we go again? Oh my god. Okay, so the cat is in the room. That should be fine. Ugh. He can be cute, but he can meow. That cat can meow. Alright. This is quality. Yes, thank you. Pishi has been singing for you guys online. It feels like a personal concert, huh? No, the cat is not hungry. There's a stray cat out there. He wants to go out and play with him, but he's not allowed to. As long as white isn't in castling, should not. Yeah, I agree, Peter. I think that's correct. As long as white's not castling, yeah, we shouldn't really touch the center yet. So I saw some ideas about just trying to develop pieces. A5, kind of. A5, the problem is that the knight could really jump here. It gives it a clear path. So, yeah, thank you, Yaroslav. Yep. Knight d7, you're gonna get the queen somewhere around here, and then we could potentially try to go for somewhere like that. Yeah, I agree. That's a very great plan. Thank you. Okay, so knight d7 and castle. Now, do you guys have a preference on where to place the queen? Are you worried about anything if you play queen g5? Siamak, he has not made me crazy yet. He was a very lovely cat during pretty much all my exams and US championship. I probably just need to get rid of the poor stray cat. But I don't want to not feed him. I've been feeding him for months now. But yeah, it's a little touchy situation. I was encouraging one of my friends to adopt a cat, and she backed out. So if anybody's around St. Louis and wants a cute cat, not my cat, stray one, feel free to come take the cat. But yeah, we shouldn't really. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, the one thing that does worry me about queen g5 is just simply f4. Like, I see your concern about if queen g6 when you played e4, there would be knight f4. But I think the threat of right now f4 is much more severe than potentially e4 than knight f4. So, queen g6. Who's handling the chat? I mean, I'm reading it, I'm answering it. I think that's handling it. Yeah, I think that queen g6 is the safer way to go. And it kind of the one thing that I wouldn't exactly love about it is that I'm not really gonna have this f4, and I really wanted to have that f4. So queen g6 should be good enough. In the game, white simply played b4. So Morphy made a very interesting move. This is not the first move I thought about. So what do you guys think? So black to move, what do you think we should do with that pawn? I doubt anybody would want to actually take this pawn. You don't want to give your opponent counterplay. main question is, do you want him to take it and you take it with the knight? Or what do you want? Do you want your knight to be on, whoa. Do you want your knight to be on c5? Or, oh, okay, you're just gonna ignore it, Regnant, and play e4. Well, play e4. That kind of does make sense. But the other people are also quite correct. b6, just kind of a chill move. This was not the first move I thought about. I also considered e4. The thing with e4 is knight f4, and you can't really do this queen g5. There's a potentially, I want to say knight e6. And then you would have to play this queen f6 and just exchange queens. So yeah. Yeah, exactly, Arthur. e4 is a little premature right now, so it's good to just go for b6. But e4 is a great candidate move, and it definitely does deserve a little bit of thinking before dismissing it for right now. Alright, so b4, b6, and white played f3. So now, black to move, what do you think we should do? And this move, I did not find it the first time I saw this game. Actually, I didn't really think about it. But I saw this game a few months ago, I want to say July, August. Well, I don't think it's about depth, it's just kind of about understanding. You're not required to calculate that much, you're just kind of required to make sure you're not blundering in one or two moves. And that's kind of just figuring out what your opponent wants to do so you can prevent it. A6 or A5? So one thing to consider, Gabu, is that right now, black is kind of more concentrated on the center / king side rather than queen side. So that's why we wouldn't really want to play A6 or A5. However, I do understand why you would want them, because it's kind of like a stabilizing move. And if something like b5, now like this is completely stabilized. But the problem is taking, and if you take with the pawn, then the rook comes to b1, and then rook is taking over here, and you don't really want to give that counterplay to the opponent. That's why I do not recommend something with b6, a6 or a5. Not yet. You like knight f6, huh? I actually have not seen I have not seen this move in the chat. So you guys gotta think a little deeper. If it was something like knight f6, I would have thought about it. If it was e4, I would have thought about it. I wouldn't have missed an easy move like that. So I kind of need you guys to think a little bit, like up the game by maybe 1 or 2 levels. Just think a little outside of the box, and I mean, you don't really have that many options. So if you play queen g5, there is f4. So that wouldn't really go your way, even though opponent just played f3. Oh, king h8. King h8. Could be interesting, but it's unnecessary because you don't. King h8 doesn't really go with the plan that Morphy did over the board. So you guys do have the correct ideas. We want to do something in the king side or center, and we don't really. I mean, knight f6 is too easy of a move to be kind of like questioned. e4, f4, f4, do not play f4. Queen g5, there's still f4s, so that's the problem. If you play queen here, there are still the f4 ideas. Even though f4 is not even the best move, f4 is one of the ideas to consider. Or something like queen d. I don't like queen d2. Nope, that's not a human move. I prefer f4. Yeah. Thank you, Tyler. I would appreciate it if you could share why you think h5 is a good move. But even if not, I I didn't really find h5 the first time I looked at this position, this game. So yeah, h5 is actually kind of a weirdish combination of moves. You play this h5, and my understanding is that you just want to like push this pawn. And my problem was, okay, but then what? I played all the way up to h4. I'm not gonna really play h3, so then what? But the question is not then what. The question is like, does it bother opponent to have my pawn on h4? If the answer is yes, go for it. In the game, white just went with bishop c2, and black simply played bishop b7. I do not fully understand this move. To me, I thought h4 is the way to go, or even now something like a5, like something along those lines. a5, I'm a little too scared to play, honestly. I kind of feel like h4 would be kind of more my style. And so h5 is clear psychology. Yeah, h5 is the psychology move. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, a lot of these great chess players did a lot of psychological just thinking or just analyzing without too much calculation, and that's one of the things that I learned and I've been trying to apply in my games. I play very little chess, as you all are aware or might be aware of if you've seen any of my streams. I am not a professional chess player at the moment. I'm preparing for medical school exam, and it is painful. However, I've actually been winning more tournaments in the last like month than I have in like 2 years. So yeah, I guess it's about quality, not quantity, I guess. But yeah, I've been having some good tournaments. Just over the weekend, I won the witnessed Bullets Best Woman prize. So I mean, it was kind of, yeah. I mean, John, I get that. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I feel like, but I always thought that the title doesn't matter if you don't look at chess that often, if you don't actually practice it or play it as often, then you're gonna drop. But I guess it kind of depends, because if you don't calculate that often, then it's going to be yeah, you're gonna get worse at calculation, but your chess understanding doesn't really go away. So as long as your chess understanding is intact, you should be in a good style. Yeah, so I agree. I kind of like this idea with h4 or a5. So to me, bishop b7, I was just like, huh? And the problem with sorry, not the problem, the confusion that I had with bishop b7 was, well, can white now just try to like push these pawns at some point? Like, can I just play f4? And I wasn't very comfortable with this idea of f4. I could simply play e5 and then maybe try and like push this idea of taking over there or something like that. But somehow the kingside attack does not feel as strong anymore. So that's kind of why I was a little on edge about bishop b7. Yeah, we could just finish the development, that is true. Yeah, I agree. Bishop b7 doesn't make much sense, but that's the beauty of it, because so I don't play poker, but I know some little cute phrases. So this kind of feels like not showing your hand, I guess in poker. That like bishop b7, you're kind of just waiting on your opponent to see what the opponent does. And this is something that I do very frequently in my games. Not necessarily with the bishop b7. So bishop b7 feels like a waiting move, but at the same time like a slightly developmental move. So it feels like a nice mix. So yeah, that could be it too. Bishop b7 could simply just be making way for the rook. Yeah, that does sound pretty reasonable to me. Okay, so b5 could be a potential idea out there as well, but I don't really see how it's gonna work now. So in the game, white simply played bishop a4. I kind of like it, but I would still like to look at e4 and f4 deeper before I would make this bishop a4 move. I guess bishop f4 is good because no more b5, so you're kind of blocking that whole thing. white has no pressure. Oh yeah, okay. Fragrance. I kind of get that. How do you balance a loss of a tempo with a waiting move? So tempo or momentum is something that's very frequent and it takes a lot of understanding in the dynamic games. But right now, this game is kind of still on edge between dynamic and strategic. It's more strategic than dynamic. So that's something to consider. If your game is very attacky and you have like a bunch of checks or takes, that one tempo is gonna make that whole different idea. It's gonna make a lot of difference. But if it's a position like this, where you can just like just like kind of moving your pieces without much purpose, but the opponent also can't do much about it. Yeah. Thank you, Fragrance. Yeah, I feel like you were my translator in the chat as well. Alright, so bishop a4. I wanted to ask you guys, shall we move this knight or shall we protect it? That was another question that I wanted to ask because it's kind of important idea to figure out if you're going to actually invest time and energy in protecting the knight or if it's time to call it a day and move the knight. That's why we hate London system. I mean, I get it, but this is Dutch. um, I'm reading the chat and I'm getting a lot of different ideas. I'm getting a lot of knight of 6. I'm getting a lot of rook d8. Ah, Yaroslav, sorry. That was actually a very great point, since you don't really see a piece that you would like to see on d7, so you would move it. That is a very great observation. However, queen f7. If you had your queen on d7, because this position is closed, you could potentially go nuts and start throwing these pawns. Now that's a dynamic position. Peter, you are somewhat correct, but Morphy, that's the one thing that I actually learned about Morphy this year, because I always just imagined him as a guy who sacrificed knights or rooks or something and still wins the game, but that is not actually accurate. He does have a lot of strategy games, and this is one of it. That's kind of why I wanted to show this game, just to kind of get the word out there that Morphy doesn't just checkmate, he also makes you suffer. Well, that's a bad message. Yeah. Is there anything wrong with rook d8? Not necessarily. I mean, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with it. I mean, white could try something like f4, I guess, and try to attack this, but can't I just go e4? Ooh. Yeah, I don't like this bishop, guys. This bishop is not my friend. Yeah, I get it why you wouldn't really want rook to be on d7. You could consider knight f6. However, if you played knight to f6, white could still play this f4 idea and then try something with bishop c6. That's kind of the weird part, honestly, because you're not really gonna take it, because then b5 and this pawn is always going to be trouble for you. However, even if you don't take it, you would still have to like defend it, maybe like queen f7, and it's gonna be a hassle. We don't really want to deal with that. So Arthur and Great Wolf, I see your ideas. I get that you guys don't really want to give up this knight, but it's kind of unfortunately what the position needs. You can't just be like, nah, I'm gonna do what I want to do. You kind of have to play this queen f7. In the game, white took it, which was actually a mistake. The best move for white would be something along bishop c6. It could have been something, so white could have tried something with like bishop c6, rook, let's go rook b8. And something like rook b1. Come on, rook. There we go. Just to like keep the pressure. And in chess, the concept of pressure is actually a very, 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 very strong concept that a lot of players tend to miss. That's another reason I like to call this chess on psychology, because it gives you that perspective that of the pressure and trying to balance between your ideas. Alright, so in the game, bishop takes d7, queen takes d7, takes c5. Of course, we're going to take with the d. We don't really want to have this passed pawn. And in the game, white played f4. So my question to you, what should we do? What should we do with this tension? Take it, leave it, defend it? I guess those are my three options. Yeah, great, well, definitely. So while you guys are thinking about this position and telling me what you want to do as black to counterplay the move f4, I'm going to answer great wolf. And so something like queen f7, the idea is that your queen on g6, the job for your queen on g6 was kind of done. Like your queen couldn't have really benefited from being on g6 that much. So that's kind of why we would bring it all the way back and kind of prepare it. If you take d7, I take with the queen, great. My queen is there, my rook is open, my queen is kind of like keeping an eye between both the queen side and the king side. So I kind of like that idea. Push the pawn and get space advantage. But if you push the pawn, then your bishop is kind of dead. So I guess your bishop is dead now anyways. E4 does seem to be the best way to go about it. You do get the space, and essentially you might want to launch some sort of attack on c4, or just kind of like move your bishop around a little. I mean, it's a very, very slim possibility. Yeah, so I see your idea that you would want to prefer to be white after e4. So well, how would you play this if you were white? Arthur, believe me, I get it. If it was up to me, I would want to have a bishop on e4 instead of a pawn on e4. However, we kind of have to compromise, and in this position, the best way to do that is to kind of have that. Because if you take it, it just takes with the knight, and now you have so many holes. It's just if you don't take it, then he's gonna take it, and then this is gonna be a passed pawn. So that's another issue. So you kind of have to play this f4. Sorry, this e4. Oh, hi. I see people are joining us every minute. That is pretty awesome. Yeah. I'm reading the chat. It kind of makes sense. White needs to stop black from the yeah. So my biggest worry in this position for myself as black is what the heck am I gonna do with this bishop? Where am I gonna put this bishop? So that's kind of like the biggest thing to have to deal with. So I feel like we're just gonna wait and see what white's gonna do. Because ideally we're gonna throw this around, but it would be nice if there's like a pawn on a4. So we're just trying to gain as much of the space as possible as black. does seem to be doing slightly better just because of the knight. Alright. So, do you guys have a move for me as white? I got a lot of different moves, so I feel like you guys have this covered. I kind of just want to move on from this position. Oh, hi, Steve Nord. Ah, you could try something like Queen C2. Advance up onto A5, and then that does sound pretty reasonable. But yeah, white did play this rook b1, which was not the best move. A4 is actually the best move that white failed to do. After a4, I honestly am not sure how to continue. Let's say if we play bishop a6, then rook goes to b1, rook goes to b8. Oh my goodness. Rook goes to b3, wants to double up. Maybe rook b7. Yeah, it doesn't feel too comfortable for black. It feels like black does not really have an attack anymore, and it's just like holding in the queen side. Alright, so what about rook b1? Why do you think rook b1 is not the best move? Oh, you like to play queen a5 instead of that? I don't blame you. Queen a5 makes sense too. You're still kind of limiting this bishop, and I'm having a little hard time thinking about what to do as black. Maybe just get the king up? And then there's just rook b1s. Yeah, you're not really gonna be that fast, huh? No, I guess queen a5 works too. Queen a5 is actually more annoying than a4, honestly, in a way. You just stop the whole thing with bishop a6. Yeah, good job. I think queen a4, queen a5 is the best way to go. Yeah, alright, great job. So, rook b1, and in the game, black simply played this bishop a6. Take your opportunity. If your opponent didn't play this queen a5 to allow you to play bishop a6, play your bishop a6. Bring the king up. I mean, I was trying to throw in some g5, make it more interesting. I mean, Steve North, if we do that, if you just play, like, try and exchange the queens, I don't really think it's gonna have much for you at this point. But bishop, this position for black is much more promising. I mean, of course, g6 does weaken the black king. Unless you have, like, a king on h7, rook on nail. If the queen side was completely closed, I would kind of go for g5. But yeah, I wouldn't play g5 unless I'm desperate. So yeah. Yeah, alright, so yeah, you're correct. Queen cannot go there anymore. We're just gonna pick up the pawn. This queen a5 was a move that I suggested last move instead of rook b1, but okay, bishop a6, rook c1, and here is another great move that you guys have already suggested, so I'm just going to go ahead and make it. Queen a4. Yeah, you're really worried about queen a4. Yeah, I agree. Queen a4, I agree. Queen a4 was great. You kind of just like bringing this pressure. And to be honest, this does feel like one of those Nimzo-Indians with the double pawns of c3, c4. So I think that's another thing to consider, like if you want to have that or not. Some people actually do enjoy playing with those pawn structures. I do not. Alright. White queen has been stuck on c3. Yep, you're correct about that. So after queen a4, white played knight g3. What do you think we should do? Unfortunately, I did not lock the cat away. I put him in a very comfortable bed with food. Just slightly close the door. Poor cat. Only idea is to do g6, huh? Well, not necessarily. You don't exactly have to play g6. h4 could just kick the knight. And knight h5. Knight h5 just feels 55 ways wrong. Can I just come back and go attack that knight? Yeah, I think this should be enough. Just, that knight's gonna fall, guys. So knight's gonna go back. Now, how does that make a change? Kinda, yeah, queen a4 is a confusing move, I agree. Yep, knight g3 did lose a tempo. If you went knight to h5 after h4, you would most likely be losing your knight. I mean, you might save it, but you would give other material on the way. So after knight f1, we can't really do anything else. Oh, thank you, I was just getting to it. We can't really do anything else on the king side. On the queen side, I mean, the bishop is fine, the queen is fine, so all we gotta do is bring up the rook. White played knight d2, and now this is actually a very cool move. I think this is one of the final moves that I'm going to ask you, because from then it kind of gets a little smooth. So black to move, what do you think we should do after knight d2 in this position? I mean, we can't really play the other rook to b8, we already have one there. We could try to prepare for it, but... h3, no. I mean, even if you were to put this h3, g3, is still an existing issue. Bring a rook. Yeah, I like that. So, Steve North, I don't think b3, but I do agree b6 looks pretty chill. Take, white played queen b3, and now as black, we make the decision to exchange. Not only because exchange is the endgame is better for us, but also because if you played queen a5, now could be just like queen c3 and would force you into exchanging anyways. So queen take, b5. It's very important to throw this b5 right now, because you could play rook a8, but then you'd have to deal with the a4s. So b5. In the game, I believe take was happened, and knight a5. What do you guys think we should do? Yeah, easy peasy. Okay, 8. In this kind of, white went knight b7, which was very weird to me, but I guess I get it, because if you make the mistake of taking here and then just takes over at d6, blah blah blah. So it kind of makes more sense for black to not take it. So something like rook a6. Yeah, this is not such an easy endgame, I agree. Could white have tried knight a5 first and then let black take? Where? Alright. Rook a8, knight b7, rook a6, defending my pawn, defending his pawn, and now we finally do the killer move of bringing the king. Right? The classic one. King f8, bishop d7, no more knight e6s. That's the attack. Rook b8. And yeah, I see a different language going on in chat. It's kind of interesting that I cannot read it. Yeah, it doesn't feel comfortable for white. I agree with that. If you could just kind of like exchange those rooks, white would be done. So you kind of know what the idea is. You want to exchange the rooks. Now, how are you going to do that? So, black to move, should he eat the pawn on a3 or not? This is not really... Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about the position. Oh, Peter, oh, that's like a French English. I mean, the thing is, if we were to actually take this pawn, now there's this nasty check, and you can't really take it, because now you can't really stop the pawn. So you have to be very, very, very careful with what you're doing. So you can't really take that. So you could simply just push this pawn and play c4. And I think c4 is the better way to go, just because you're kind of just saying, nah, I don't even need to eat this pawn, I'm going to make a queen. In the game, white played king f2, we're going to push, and we're finally going to take, and now we get c2. The funny part is that we get to do this and pick that pawn up, like king d2, the rook c3. Not pick it up, but... So yeah, what do you think we should do now as white? Well, I mean, that's not a question. White's gonna play king c1. We're gonna eat that. And I kind of thought maybe a check would help. I guess not. Never mind. King c1, rook takes c6, and now this is another way to try and test your strategies. So white's is kind of trying to defend really hard, and black is just trying to attack really hard. But what do you think we should do now as black? White is much worse, I agree with that. No questions there. But it's kind of about how you're gonna do this. Yeah, you gotta bring in the king. I like that. King f6 and g5. Take that bad boy, take that bad boy, and now, anybody sees a clear path to victory? The thing is, I don't really know what's white's idea, so a lot of things should be easy to do, like king g6, king h5, king g4. Or you could maybe consider something, let's say with d5, but I mean that should also be good enough to win, but it does significantly lowers your ease on winning this game. So I kind of just like king g6. Rook c5, you take it. Oh, no, we're gonna take it. We're gonna show our king and pawn warfare. Oh yeah, king goes up, king g3. Wherever the king goes, we're gonna pick this guy's up, and we're gonna make 2 queens. No less than 2. Alright, so that's kind of why rook e6 is required. Rook c3. You take over here, I'll go up there. I want to go to g4. There we go. There we go. And in this position, I believe black actually did something pretty cool. I thought just take would be enough, honestly. You need to take it, and then just like king f2, and I push this pawn. I thought that would be enough, But black played very, very interesting. He just played rook c5. And rook c5 kind of makes sense. You don't want to lose this pawn. You're eating this pawn anyways. So I guess we can let this one slide. You pick that up and just now this one is becoming the queen. So yeah, I think this was a very, very cool game. Yeah, morphing. This game had like the perfect balance between strategy, dynamic, the opening understanding, the cute little end game. I think it really had all of those balances, and like it kind of hits all of those areas. So I hope you guys liked it. Yeah. Yeah. Let me see what's going on in the chat. White offers a draw. Oh no, we're not gonna accept this. This is not Leech's tournament that you can offer takebacks. No takebacks. I do not speak French. I speak Farsi. I can read Arabic. I do not know what I'm reading though. I speak English and I apparently speak cat. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're doing great. Yeah. Do I have a picture of the white player? Honestly, I actually do not. Maybe I should have looked him up. I feel like I don't want to check it out. Some stuff might pop up that I wouldn't want to have on YouTube. If I just Google his name, I don't know. The kitty is a little occupied, being trapped in my room. Yeah, well, guys, yeah, this was a very lovely evening. I had a lot of fun, and it's kind of getting really cold in St. Louis, so I really have to adjust the temperature. Yeah, have fun with Daro. So, this was actually a nice transition. I showed you some cool end games. They finished with the end game, so you can get more end game knowledge from Daro. And hopefully you guys are not too bothered with the cat. Working from home. So, yeah, have fun, and I will see most of you guys on Friday on Twitch channel. So, yeah, have fun with that. Bye, guys.